In the recent weeks, Sega has released a deluxe version of Project Diva Future Tone called Project Diva Future Tone DX. DX short for deluxe, I'm assuming. And oh boy, do I have some news for all of you interested in the game. Let's start with the first big issue, development. It's not known when DX was in development, but it should have been about a couple of months after the game's initial release, as it is just a physical copy of the regular game with some bonuses. They only really had one full PV to program, and yes, they did have to program a lot of difficulties, which I'm sure probably made the development take a little longer, and 2 models to program, but it is pretty easy to program a model, I'm assuming, when motion capture is involved. The core game mechanics and assets, all that's out of the way and done, so it really shouldn't have taken too long to make these bonuses. And according to a magazine, the developers of this game, with a couple of months before release, said that it wasn't done yet. And usually with a game, about a month or 2 before its release, the game is already done. So it is concerning to see that it definitely was in a lot of development issues then. And keep in mind that Project Diva Future Tone DX is just a physical copy version of Future Tone with all DLC included, so really, it shouldn't have been that difficult or a need to take that long, since you're just copying and pasting the game files onto a disc. Next would be the graphics of the game. I don't own the game myself, as I already own Project Diva Future Tone with regular version on PS4, so I know the graphics of the original game really well by now, and have done full research on DX to see any sort of graphical difference. To begin with, here's Miku's hair texture in Project Diva Future Tone. As you can see the hair strands in pretty good quality, and it has a nice touch to the game's models, right? Here's the model in Project Diva DX, where Miku's hair just became globs with no texture. One could say, surely this is a glitch with the PV, right? There's no way Sega could have had this kind of messy texturing in one of their games. After all, Sega is a high-quality company. Here's a screenshot I took from my Project Diva Future Tone game. Notice here these strands of hair again. Now here's the new model from DX for the song Ghost Rule. Notice that the strands of hair are either faintly on the bangs or non-existent. Even the promotional picture for the model used on the website for the game itself looks as though it has 0 texture to it, while the model they showcased for the game in Future Tone still shows the hair texture. Not only this, but the physics and rigging for the new models don't look as good as the original game. Look at Miku's sleeves here. They're getting consumed by her wrists at this point. Looks like people were right about Miku V4's sleeves finally consuming her. Here's another photo showcasing Miku's pigtail physics in the game. Why are they floating? I know Miku's hair is slowly thinning and floating, but I think it's a little too soon for that, as Miku V5X isn't announced yet. Even the promotional image for the game shows that there's already funky stuff going on with the sleeves rigging. Okay, so technical issues out of the way, let's see what the game comes with. The game comes with a bonus of 2 whole songs. Okay, yes, the exclusive song is Sand Planet and
All Hail the Mighty Sand Planet!
But it's not even an original PV, or at least a special model and recreation. It's just the original PV over it, which is fine, as Future Tone has a few like that. But as DLC for your game with the price they're asking for, not cool, man. Come up with a special model in PV for what you're asking fans to pay for. The other song is Ghost Rule, which is a good song and has a good PV, but this and Sand Planet aren't exactly enough for this to make it worth have the deluxe name. Okay, so the game itself is both Future Tone and all the DLC it comes with. And while the idea is not a bad one, as I'm assuming people don't want to go through the hassle of purchasing a bunch of DLC at once, or have bad internet or something so they can't go to the PSN store and purchase said games, or if you're like me, who had to buy the Japanese version 2 months before they announced the US release, buy a Japanese PSN card for the games plus DLC and make a Japanese PSN account, and or if you're someone who likes physical copies, I guess, but it's kind of rare to find someone who enjoys physical copies of things nowadays. So I suppose the entire game plus DLC plus 2 new songs could be fine, right? You may be right. Let's see how much they're asking for. Oh Oh yeah, they're asking for $70 for the regular version and $100 for an even more deluxe version, which doesn't really come with anything but another disc of PVs fans made. But there was a translation a while back that it was apparently songs that couldn't make it in Future Tone due to budget, time, or copyright issues, but I don't know how much water that holds, as I haven't seen anyone talk about that, because if they did, they would show like the Future Tone version of those songs, so... And I forgot to mention that they have a PV photo mode, which is basically taking a screenshot of the game and decorating and slash or cutting for the photo to make it look like a phone wallpaper or maybe an icon for somewhere. Hey, they can show you how to make your own collages for Tumblr aesthetic posts. It's not a bad concept, but I suppose not something I'd pay $70 fucking for. To me, this game feels like wasted potential. This game is on 3 discs, and they still feel a need to dumb down some texture that probably take up almost no space, as they probably reused the teal hair texture with all the regular Miku models. That's a huge sign of laziness. 2 songs instead of like at least 10? Whatever you say, it's blatant that DX was rushed and had zero care put into it. I suppose if you were someone with the internet of a slug, then you could get this game when it comes out to the US and play a messed up version of Future Tone, then go ahead. However, if you are someone who can use the PSN store and are curious which version to buy, just buy Future Tone, please. Sam Planet is a great song, and so is Ghost Rule, but that much money is nowhere near worth it. And yes, the original Future Tone is definitely more expensive, but you can always slowly pay for everything as time goes on, so you don't have to say to yourself, $70 for a bad port? This has got Sega in hot water for me, as I'm already quite disappointed when I looked into Project Diva X and seeing how little songs there were on it for the price they were asking for, along with pretty low quality models. Yes, I know Project Diva X was a PS Vita game ported to the PS4, but it would have killed them to change the models. Hell, even Square Enix did this for Type 0 HD. I am a little concerned about the future of Project Diva games. Will they also be lazy models PSP versions? I can only hope not. According to what I've looked up, Sega apparently wants to spice things up with the games, and my only hope is that it's for the better. Maybe they should add some characters from other companies, as we saw Gumi and Mirai. Let's hope that this project brings a good future for Project Diva. Well, thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed the video, and let me know down below if you plan to buy DX or Future Tone. I have Future Tone and obviously have no plans for DX, but I want to know if you guys still plan to buy it. See you next time! Subscribe!